It is an honor to welcome again my friend General John Borling to the Steve Cochran Show and live from my office, the podcast. General, how are you, sir?
Doing well, Steve. Pleased to be with you again.
Nice to have you here. Just some general thoughts on Veterans Day before people get too much along with their lives and too busy to remember the importance of it. Every fall we should be thinking about it. And frankly, what does it mean to you?
Well, November the 11th, Armistice Day, in its original incarnation, changed into Veterans Day over time to recognize the service of those who are currently on active duty or in the Guard and Reserve, or those who have served. It gets confused sometimes with Memorial Day, which, as you know, is the day in May when we recognize and revere our war dead. But this is, even though its genesis was World War I and Armistice Day, the 11th month, the 11th day, the 11th hour kind of thing, and observed internationally, frankly, Australia, Great Britain, others. It's a day when we should pause and remember the fact that we've got a lot of men and women out there doing the nation's bidding.
And it is okay to say Happy Veterans Day because we're happy so many great men and women have served.
Yeah, I think so. I get it all the time, and it's always nice to hear, which is the thank you for your service. But I'm convinced that there's another phrase that I'd like to see become popular across America, and it's thanks for protecting our freedoms.
That's great. I love that.
For protecting our freedoms, yeah.
Every week, General Borling, you write something called The Third Degree. I love it. I subscribe, and I encourage others to do that. We'll tell you how to do it in a second. And it's a thought starter. It's a discussion tool. It's not something where you read it and go, okay, I'm not going to go out and scream at somebody. It's so many people do now. This is how democracy gets done when you have somebody spurring you with good ideas for discussion. So where did that come from?
Well, thank you, Steve, for your support over a couple of years, actually.
Right.
The column has been running now every Sunday for almost 4 years. Haven't missed a Sunday. We took a month off when we transitioned it from its newspaper base. The Gannett newspapers published in a number of their publications for a couple of years. And then, as a cost-cutting measure, they cost-cut me by 50% without discussion, and I elected to take it private. And we had a month's interregnum there where we had the Third Degree set up. The premise is that I think most people can make their own decisions and should on matters public and private. The Third Degree just reserves the right to ask hard questions on those same subjects. And it does so in a very focused way every week, trying to keep the content down to about 400, 450 words, so that, and using bullet form, so it's digestible, but it's questions. It's imperative inquiry, if you will. And we've had great results. People can, I guess this would be the commercial plug.
Well, no, I want you to tell people how they can set up a subscription.
Well, thanks for the opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
You've always had an informed listenership, fans of yours, because you're so inquiring in your own right and so very much mainstream American that I'm really privileged that you'd give me access to your gang. www.third, THIRD, -degree-us.com. third-degree-us.com. And the website comes right up, and you can enroll if you choose to, or you can send me an email and say, hey, this is what I think about that, and it's John at third-degree-us.com. And we've got a very robust and active readership and sponsors. But it's very expensive. Did you tell people that?
It's very reasonable. It's very reasonable.
It's a cup of coffee a month.
That's all.
And it's not even Starbucks. I mean, it's the stuff down at your local cafe.
That's exactly right.
A month. And if you don't think you're getting your money's worth, you'll get your money back.
Right. Yeah, your customer service department is strong, but nobody asks for a refund, and they shouldn't.
That's, I've had over the 4 years, maybe 3 or 4 people, because, we're not kid gloves with stuff.
Right, but one of the things I think is that you do, and it's really needed, is this is not a partisan attack forum. This is something that throws out questions that inform and push forward the chances of maintaining and saving our own democracy.
Well, exactly. And Socrates, and this is a tagline I use every week, as you know, Socrates reminds that the unexamined life is not worth living.
Mm-hmm.
But the actions and the answers are yours. I'm not there to try to force my point of view down. I'm there to try to force examination. And I try to do so, as you know, with a little humor sometimes,
sure.
Satire certainly. The Edgar Allan Poe would labor for hours, days even, on the choice of a singular word in one of his short stories. And I will tell you, I labor trying to have an element of fidelity to these weekly pieces, so that the use of language is precise, or if I want it to be a little equivocal, so that the proper questioning aspect can be there. And I like to use metaphors and similes and certainly alliterations. We are currently embarked on use of the P words starting with P. And I don't think most people recognize that between letter S and letter P, they divide about 50,000 of the 175,000 words or so in the English language. And I've decided we were doing a series on prickly problems last month, and then some people came in and they said, well, we ought to focus on some more P words.
Well, but you are one of the great experts on the English language and a poet at heart and for real. And, of course, you wrote Taps on the Walls while you were a resident, as you put it, your long-term stay at the Hanoi Hilton.
I wasn't a resident. I was in jail, man.
Well, you're the one that told me the story about the long-term stay. But, yeah, of course you were. All right, so let me segue into the awfulness that does go on around the world.
Yeah.
We want to fight about who's going to be the president. We want to fight about whether or not we have a Speaker of the House and whether Republicans are the wrong and Democrats are in the wrong. We need to fight for what not only helps America, but helps the world. And America is still in a position to do more for the world than anybody else. So it is imperative that we not negotiate with terrorists. But when these cowards go out and kidnap a couple of hundred people who weren't doing anything other than living their lives, that's got to be an impossible position for military leaders in the highest and obviously the commander-in-chief.
When the dogs of war are loosed, or loosened, I guess would be the correct approach, a lot of bets go off the table. And in this current Guerra Nueva, the new war, I think there's a perspective that has been lost that hopefully will be regained.
And you can dial any argument you want back to the place where you win the fight in your own head. There are biblical connotations to all of this as well. It's horrible what's going on inside of Gaza to completely innocent people, but it's beyond unspeakable for the Israeli citizens to go through what they went through in these attacks and the constant threat that continues there for illegal people that were granted this land, have done so much with it, and continue to be a thriving, productive democracy in the world. So in no way did we want to be judged about our reaction to 9/11. The judgment that goes on about Israel's reaction to this, that's one of those but there for the grace of God moments, isn't it?
Well, I think you can make that case, and it's good to go back and figure out, or try to figure out, and I haven't seen any analysis on this, but why now? Why did they attack now with such ferocity? And my take on it, trying to look at it from a God's eye view, is that there was too much rapprochement going on in the Mideast. The Saudis were about ready to conclude really wide-ranging and far-reaching positive accords in line with the Abraham Accords that started under Trump.
Right.
And I think that one can make a case that while this attack, certainly they didn't dream it up overnight, and let's go to war for the hell of it over the weekend. It's been a while in planning and in execution. Certainly, it was surprising, which once again shows you the limitations of the intelligence apparatus around the world and our own. Even though there were some apparent clues that were disregarded. But I think the geopolitical aspect is that Iran, even though our own government continues to try to cozy up to them, and I'm distressed about that, frankly, Iran has been a consistent enemy since the Carter years. And this is a real shame because the Iranian people are wonderful.
Right.
I mean, they're great. They're intelligent. They're good-looking people. They're energetic, but they have been abused by a theocratic government. When you make theology and politics, what you get is violence, and historically that is
and nicely tied back into Hamas being the root of all evil in this problem that has got the attention of the world. And how it ends, I'm not sure.
Well, it's not just Hamas. Hamas is kind of a handmaiden of Iran.
The front line of Iran and anybody else that wants to chip in.
Well, they use proxies, and this takes our eye off the ball with respect to the contests going on with Russia and ultimately with China as well. The world is increasingly fragile when it comes to the thing that everyone desires, which is peace. But if you look at what's going on in the world, there's 30 major conflicts going on in the world right now, where thousands of people are killed, many more wounded every year. And this, unfortunately, casts a shadow on human nature itself. And what we need to be mindful of if we care about this country and our freedoms and our economy and our unparalleled ability to have built a civilization over the last not only 250 years since independence, and that's coming in 2026, our 250th anniversary, but over the 400 years or so that we came to these shores, and what that has meant in terms of life expectancy, in terms of the availability of being able to advance your position and your family's position. And you're willing to work, and you're willing to be educated, and you're willing to put off maybe a present good for a future better. That's a big statement, putting off present good for a future better. Boy, the terrain out there in America is still very, very appealing.
Oh my God! And that's the thing. That's the thing I hold on to. That's the thing I hold on to when I hear it from you. The optimism of the good that we have done, we can do, and we must do going forward. I know we're going to run out of time here. There's never enough time with you. I appreciate very much our friendship. And third-degreeus.com is how you sign up for the third degree. I really hope you will. I'll talk to you a little more after we hang up with the general about the other things that he's busy with, including something else I believe in tremendously, especially in these tense times, and that's SOS America. But in the meantime, General, for all the sacrifice, you made an unbelievable sacrifice, 6.5 years of your life as a prisoner of war, for all the good that you've done for everyone that served under you and with you. I do thank you for protecting us, but Remind us of that phrase again that you think soldiers would love to hear.
Well, I think, you see them in the airports or they're walking down the street. It's the same thing for the cops, by the way.
Right.
And I'd even say the first responders, the firefighters, as well as, you can say just thanks for the military. It's thanks for taking care of our freedoms or looking out for our freedoms or safeguarding our freedoms. And that goes to the police for sure. And then, thanks for doing what you're doing to the firefighters. Right. We have got to cling to this country because we can lose it in a generation. And a byproduct of this war going on may well be that these people who thoughtlessly demonstrate and who sign petitions to death to Israel and all that stuff will be identified and will come to their senses, especially when they find out they can't get jobs in this vibrant America, because we're done with the kind of senseless bashing of America and bashing of a state like Israel. And we're gonna keep marching on down the road. How's that sound?
That's very, very strong and very right. And the irony is when cancel culture cancels itself.
That's right. I hope it does.
So thank you, my friend. God bless you and the family. And I will be in touch soon. And thank you for the third degree and everything else you do. General John Borling.
Thank you for listening to Live from My Office, a service of Monkey Run Productions. All rights reserved. The podcast is hosted by Steve Cochran, and it's mixed, edited, and produced by me, Ross Cochran. Steve is available for corporate speaking gigs. He would love to MC your event, and occasionally, he's funny. Thank you for listening. Head to cochranshow.com for more.